Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jai Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की समाचार हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज राधा कुंज गोवर्धन की वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी महारानी की समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय जय श्री राधे राधे। Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us again. It's so nice when we have these wonderful Vaishnavas visiting. It's just like we have an evening program, we just go home, take rest, chant our rounds, and we are back here in our association. So thank you all so much for joining us. So happy to be in all of your associations. And also we'd like to thank our host, Prabhu, Prabhu, and Swarna Gauri Mataji. Thank you so much for hosting the program and preparing the nice Dwadashi Prasadi for everyone. Thank you. Thank you. So without further ado, we'd like to again welcome our wonderful visiting guest speaker, devotee very dear to our heart, Yesterday evening class was just so amazing. Like we were just driving back and we were just discussing so many, so many, the whole class was filled with like so deep points. And we have heard the shloka so many times, Adho Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha, but how Prabhu actually for each limb, he had like so deep points to share. It was very, very enlightening. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, and we are looking forward to more association. So, as you see, today's topic is the joyous waves of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetry. Hari Bol! So, without further ado, let's give a big Hari Bol to His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Aditya Narayan Prabhu, for kindly welcoming me here once again. Very sincere thanks to Raghu Prabhu and to Suvarna Gauri Mataji. Thank you so much for kindly opening the doors of your home. Who else is there in the family? Both of you? Tarak Ram. Oh, wonderful. And Satya Ankit. Oh, wonderful. So, dear devotees, let's have a big round of applause for the wonderful family. So, na griham grihamityahur grihini grihamuchyate. I've always said the home is beautiful because there is the presence of a grihini. And anybody knows what is the meaning of a grihini? Yeah, the lady of the home. So, Mataji, you're present here as the Griha Lakshmi, the grihini. Because of you, the home is beautiful. Thank you so much for kindly opening the doors of your home, Mataji. Thank you so much. And dear devotees, I'd also like to thank Aditya Narayan Prabhu, Ratna Radhika Mataji. Thank you so much. And Leela Shakti Mataji, thank you so much for kindly being here. His Grace Apurva Prabhu, Kamalini Mataji. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Rohini Nandan Prabhu Bhavmai Mataji for kindly they, they kindly tolerated me yesterday. All right, huh? Only one more day, Prabhu. If we can tolerate Nirjal Ekadashi, we can certainly tolerate Hari Parshad.
This tolerance is the greatest nectar in Krishna.
How to sugarcoat? No, very nice. I'm very happy. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly being here. And I'm very thankful to each and every one of you for kindly being present here. Yesterday, we were discussing about a very important subject matter, that is moving beyond mediocrity on the path of bhakti. And those who finally move beyond mediocrity on this path, I had specified that they properly go through 3 stages. First is Shraddha, Adav Shraddha, but before Shraddha also comes the initial Sadhu Sangha. So the first Sadhu Sangha, then comes Shraddha, and we all know Sri Jiva Goswami, all the Acharyas have said, Shraddha refers to faith, but faith in one specific entity, and what is that? Shastra. Shastriya Shraddha is known as Shraddha, and therefore putting faith in the words of Shastra is the first step. If done incorrectly, it doesn't lead to the next step properly. And what is the next step, dear devotees? Sadhu Sangha. We need to identify who is a sadhu and who is not a sadhu, because there are many people who are wearing fancy clothes of a sadhu, dear devotees. And we need to understand who amongst them is a sadhu and who is not a sadhu. Shastra will tell us how to recognize a sadhu, how to recognize a sadhu, and how to recognize who is not a sadhu. If sadhu sangha is done properly, we get a guru who will give us the next step of our devotional progress, and that next step, dear devotees, is bhajan kriya. And properly done bhajan kriya will lead to the 4th step. And what comes after bhajan kriya, dear devotees? Anartha nivriti. Now, anartha nivriti is getting rid of negatives in the heart. But our process is not so much getting rid of negatives as much as it is developing the positive. Many devotees struggle with getting rid of negatives in the heart. because from countless lives there are these negativities which are present in our heart. It is very difficult to drive away the negativities from our heart by our own effort. Yeah, devotees, our effort is only in this lifetime, but the negativities are coming from a single life or from infinite previous lives. Infinite previous lives. So since the negativities are coming from infinite previous lives, a human effort of this life may sometimes not be sufficient to drive away. And if we look into previous lives that we have spent, we will also be able to see, dear devotees, all the negativities that we have committed in previous lives. Therefore, truly speaking, a sadhu who is able to perform anartha nivritti is somebody who understands what is the higher taste. We all need external help here. Dear devotees, and external help comes in the form of, please repeat after me, artha pravritti. Artha pravritti is the exact opposite of anartha nivritti. Sri Rupa Goswami had specified anartha nivritti, but this term artha pravritti is not specified by Sri Rupa Goswami. This term artha pravritti was given by Srila Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said that after a certain number of years of practicing bhakti, a devotee should, instead of focusing so much on anartha nivritti, they should start focusing on the opposite thing. And what is the opposite thing, dear devotees? Artha pravritti, developing something positive. Otherwise, the process remains neti neti, not this, not that. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no. And you know who keeps doing neti neti? An impersonalist, yeah, an impersonalist keeps doing neti neti, not this, not this. If not this, not that, then what should be the positive in our spiritual life? So the positives in our spiritual life are also specified by the previous acharyas. I'm going to give you one term for the positive, and that one term, dear devotees, is very important. On experiencing this one object, one thing, our spiritual lives will become fully transformed. And that one particular object, dear devotees, is known as, please repeat after me, Bhakti Ras. So Bhakti Ras is the turning point. And it is this Bhakti Ras which gives us the positive taste, without which our lives remain busy simply in anartha nivritti. So dear devotees, we need to have some experience of Bhakti Ras positivity, and therefore today's presentation on the joyous waves of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetry. So we'll try to relish some of the waves that Sri Rupa Goswami has compiled in his literature named Padyavali. Padyavali is a compilation of verses by Srila Rupa Goswami. Padyavali was not written by him. It was compiled by him, dear devotees. The devotee authors previous to Sri Rupa Goswami wrote many wonderful verses. And as soon as Sri Rupa Goswami would get to hear any wonderful verse, Sri Rupa Goswami would immediately note it down. In those days, we did not have audio recordings. In those days, we could not take a photograph of a verse. In those days, if you heard a verse, you had only one chance to note it down. Else you may forget, dear devotees. So, whenever Sri Rupa Goswami came across a wonderful verse, Sri Rupa Goswami immediately noted it down. And then we have about 450 such verses compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami, but they are coming from great devotees previous to Sri Rupa Goswami. This collection is called, what is the name, dear devotees? Padyavali. Padya is poetry, Avali is series of poetry compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami. It's like his box of assorted sweets, dear devotees. Whenever he wants to be happy, he'll open the box and he'll eat one sweet, dear. So this is Padyavali. So dear devotees, we'll also begin our joyous journey into the waves of Padyavali, but there is Shishta Parampara, tradition established by the previous great acharyas, that before we begin any event, we should perform Mangalacharan, auspicious invocations. Following in that tradition, I'll perform Mangalacharan. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले सोऽयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। Dear devotees, I'll begin with a quote by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says something in a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, 17th June 1973. He says something very important. And Srila Prabhupada emphasizes how we should be performing our sadhan and bhajan, how we should be executing our devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada Vacha, I'll need somebody who has a loud, that's okay. You have a loud enough voice. Anybody? Mahabhav Prabhu has a loud enough voice, the devotees. So Mahabhav Prabhu, you can kindly read what Srila Prabhupada says.
Simply, if you are engaged in Krishna's business, Priti Purvakam, with love, not as hackneyed. Here is a duty. Chanting of Hare Krishna. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Chants very quickly and indistinctly. Not like that. With Priti, with love. Chant every name. Hare Krishna. And here. Here is Krishna. Here is Radharani. That kind of chanting quality. Not Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Not like that. Not like that. Priti.
So dear devotees, it's very important that we are offering so many limbs of bhakti to Bhagavan, but in these limbs of bhakti that we are offering to Bhagavan, we should add the salt of affection. Because if we don't add salt to any particular dish, then that dish becomes tasteless. Similarly, the salt of affection needs to be added to every particular limb of bhakti that we are performing. Otherwise, that limb of bhakti becomes very mechanical. I've always said this thing, and I'll repeat it here, dear devotees. Often in the world, previously, there used to be arranged marriage everywhere in the world. All cultures in the world used to have one marriage. Which marriage is that? Arranged marriage. How many here have been in how many here are arranged marriages? Please raise your hand. So wonderful. See, so the number is going to go down in the next generation, but we still have many here today. So an arranged marriage is where the parents tell the boy and the girl, the parents tell the boy, this is the girl you are going to marry. The parents tell the girl, this is the boy you are going to marry. And the girl and the boy formally meet for the first time. And the parents tell the boy, you are meeting her for the first time, take some gift. And the parents of the girl also tell her, you are meeting him for the first time, take some gift. So they meet for the first time like this and they exchange gifts. and formalities. Hare Krishna, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. So that is how they meet for the first time. Dear devotees, the marriage takes place and 10 years pass by. Now, if after 10 years also, if they have to be told what to do, then is the marriage going good? Yeah. So dear devotees, maybe similar is our condition with Sri Krishna. Somebody arranged our relationship with Sri Krishna. And somebody told us, this is Krishna and this is you. Every day you should do something, wake up and chant how many rounds? 16 rounds. So dear devotees, initially it looks okay. But 10 years have passed. And if after 10 years I am doing the same thing with the same mechanical mindset, then something is wrong in my relationship with Bhagavan. Therefore, dear devotees, it should not be like a strange arranged marriage, where the wife every morning, she was told by her parents every morning make breakfast for him. So every morning at 6:30 she makes oats and milk. Okay, that's it. Okay, Maha Prabhu, every morning 6:30 oats and milk. Okay, next morning 6:30 oats and milk. Okay. He's not married yet. But he doesn't look very happy with the idea of getting oats and milk every day at 6:30. Dear devotees, the wife is doing her duty. She was told by her parents every morning 6:30 there should be breakfast. So every morning 6:30 there is oats and milk on the table. And nothing else, all right? So dear devotees, is the marriage going good? And at the end of every week, the husband comes to the wife, here, this is the end of the week, here is the salary. That's it. No more dealing. Here is the end of the week, here is the salary. Dear devotees, the husband constantly keeps doing his duty. The wife constantly keeps doing her duty. But something is missing in the marriage. And what is missing, dear devotees? Priti, affection is missing. And maybe similar is our relationship with Bhagavan. Every morning, 6:30, here are your 16 rounds, Bhagavan. So that is what. That's it. I say, this is what is going on. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing Priti Purvakam. We need to have some affection towards Bhagavan. And unless that affection is added to our limbs of bhakti, progress will become very difficult on this path. But in order to have affection, we need to have a heart. And unless we have a heart for loving Bhagavan, it will become very difficult to have that affection. And not everybody has a heart to love Bhagavan. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly says in the 3rd verse that only one category of people are eligible to relish Srimad Bhagavatam. I will not show this verse, it is a very common verse. I will sing it. Those of you who know can sing along with me. निगम कल्पतरोर्गलितं फलम् शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका bhuvi bhavuka. You need to be a certain type of a person. Whom do you need to be, dear devotees? Rasika. And what is the meaning of Rasika? Rasika means a person who is a connoisseur for rasa. And what is rasa? Rasa is bhakti rasa. That joy of bhakti which is experienced through poetry, etc. So that bhakti rasa we need to be a connoisseur of, otherwise it is very difficult. Sri Rupa Goswami is going to specifically say that, dear audience, please, you are most welcome. But he is expecting all of you to have a heart for Bhakti Rasa. And Sri Rupa Goswami introduces by this following verse in the Vidagdha Madhava. Please sing after me. Udasatam nam rasana bhigya Kritau tavami rasikah sphuranti क्रमे लकैः काममुपेक्षितेऽपि पिकः सुखं यान्ति परं रसाले. Sri Rupa Goswami says, I know there are certain people who don't have a heart for rasa. There are certain people who cannot have a heart for loving Bhagavan. Udasatam nama. Let there be some people who neglect what I have to say. I have absolutely no worries if there are some people who neglect what I have to say. Rupa Goswami calls them rasa anabhigya. Anabhigya means they are fully unaware of one principle. Which principle are they unaware of? Rasa. They are rasa anabhigya. They are fully unaware of rasa. They don't have a heart for bhakti rasa. Let them freely neglect whatever I have to say. But kritau tavami rasika spuranti. But one category of devotees will take immense joy in what I have to say. And those devotees are whom, dear devotees? Rasika. The connoisseurs of bhakti rasa will certainly take great joy. And he is expecting that from all of us, dear devotees. I could have given this presentation in a university where all the professors are sitting. And then they would have sat like this for the entire presentation. Yeah, okay, it's okay. Okay. Dear devotees, this is what you call an arasika. So Sri Rupa Goswami doesn't want an arasika as his audience. Sri Rupa Goswami wants whom? Rasikas. Rasikas who are so informal, just like Vrajavasis, they'll agree to sit on the floor, dear devotees. That is informality. I hope you are able to understand. That is informality. They sit on the floor, they listen eagerly, they are rasikas in their heart. And therefore, I am so thankful that all of you are present here as those representatives of Srila Rupa Goswami. In fact, most of you are initiated in the family of Sri Rupa Goswami. So he wrote all of this for all of you, dear devotees. When he wrote Padyavali 500 years ago, there was no printing press, there was no hope of becoming a published author in your lifetime. There was a prize on the head of every sadhu. If you could bring the severed head of any sadhu, you would get 2 gold coins. Those were the days, because when you read Sri Rupa Goswami, we never come to know the difficulties that were going on in his day and age. Today, we are comparatively very happy, very happy. But in Sri Rupa Goswami's day and age, it was not such an easy situation in the world outside. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami was living in very difficult times. Sri Rupa Goswami's own brother, Sri Sanatan Goswami, had escaped persecution from Nawab Hussain Shah. Facing certain deaths, Sri Sanatan Goswami had somehow escaped and made it to Jagannath Puri, where he had seen Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in Jagannath Puri, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatan Goswami would often sing all these verses in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these verses that you are going to see today went through the ears of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dear devotees, you are getting the Mahaprasad of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verses approved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu today. Rasika Spuranti. You are all Rasikas, you will certainly take joy. And those who are arasikas, they may not take joy. That is all right. And Sri Rupa Goswami says, Krame lakai. Krame lak. Nowadays we have an English term which is similar, camel. Camel. Kamam upekshitepi. The camel might happily ignore the mangoes. Dear devotees, the camel doesn't eat mangoes, but does it decrease the value of mangoes in the market? No. You go in the market and try to find the most expensive fruit, and you will find Alfonso mango, dear devotees. 100% guarantee. The most expensive and sweetest fruit, dear devotees, is the mango. But the camel doesn't eat it. But does that decrease the value of the mango or the camel? Camel. Camel likes to eat something else. What does the camel like to eat? Thorns. And when the camel eats thorns, another rus comes out. You know which rus comes out, dear devotees? Blood. So the camel thinks, wonderful, what juice there is in the thorn. So dear devotees, there are some people who have such a dry heart, Sri Rupa Goswami saying, such a dry heart, they don't have a heart for bhakti rasa. All they can think about is anartha nivritti, torturing their body, and whatever ras comes out of torturing that body, they call it bhakti ras. That is not the ras that we are expected to relish. There is much positivity on the path. Pikaha sukham yanti. But the cuckoos very happily relish these mangoes. And dear devotees, who sings nicely, camel or cuckoos? Have you heard a camel sing? No. Camel doesn't sing, a camel brays, dear devotees. But a cuckoo sings. And the cuckoos relish the mangoes. And therefore, dear devotees, all of you are exactly like those cuckoos who have a taste for those mangoes of Bhakti Rasa. Please don't be like camels at any point of time. There is so much positivity on the path, on the process. There is no need of becoming negative. Here is the translation. Mahabha Prabhu, slowly but loudly, please read the translation.
Those who are averse to this bhakti ras can happily show indifference towards it, while those who are expert in it will certainly always dive deep. The cuckoos relish ripe mangoes on the trees, whereas the camels prefer to avoid them and eat thorny bushes instead.
So, dear devotees, Padyavali is meant for this category of individuals. And it is not meant for this category of individuals. Dear devotees. So, dear devotees, is bhakti about anartha nivritti or artha pravritti? Artha pravritti. That is what bhakti was all about. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. Pratyakshaavagamam, you will see it in pratyaksha. What is the meaning of pratyaksha? Directly you will experience happiness in your mind. Susukham. It is a most joyous process. Somehow, sometimes we make it kudukham, the most unhappy process, dear devotees. That is because Srila Prabhupada said, advancement on the path depends on the attitude of the follower. Yesterday we saw that quote. Because of incorrect attitudes, we often think that anartha nivritti is the goal. Instead of anartha nivritti, we should have the opposite. And what is the opposite, dear devotees? Artha pravritti. Let's begin our entrance into Artha Pravritti, dear devotees, because it is very important to have that Artha Pravritti. Sri Rupa Goswami introduces the literature Padyavali, says, welcome dear devotees, we are going to relish Sri Padyavali. All the verses are compiled by previous authors, but the first verse is composed by Sri Rupa Goswami as an introduction. Sri Rupa Goswami composes the first verse introducing the Padyavali. The meter of the verse is Vasanta Tilakam. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. Padyavali virachita rasikar mukunda. Padyavali virachita rasikar mukunda. बंध बंधुर पदाव्रमदोर्वसिन्धु रम्या समस्ततमसां दमनिक्रमेण संगृह्यते कृतिकदम्बक कौतुकाय. Dear devotees, first comes the name of the literature. What is the name of the literature? Padyavali. Padyavali is a term in feminine gender. The term Padyavali is feminine in gender. Virachita. This Padyavali has been created. Created by whom? By you, Sri Rupa Goswami? No. Rasikaihi. The creators are also of which category? Rasika. And the relisher should also be of which category? Rasika. Dear devotees, one of the best gifts that a speaker can receive is an audience who is Rasika. And dear devotees, if even one Rasika is present in the audience, it is sufficient to spoil the mood of the entire audience. The previous Acharya has given example. A single dead fly in a box of sweets can give diarrhea to the entire marriage party, isn't it? So a single arasika, they can spoil the mood of the entire sabha. But I'm so happy I don't have arasika. I don't have camels in the assembly. All of you are cuckoos. So Padyavali Virachita Rasikai. Padyavali has been created by Rasikas. Now describe this Padyavali. So Sri Rupa Goswami starts describing Padyavali. Says Mukunda Sambandha Bandhura Pada. Sambandha Bandhura Pada. There are many padas, many poetries which are bandhura, which are very sweet. Due to Sambandha, due to being related to one Bhagwan. Which Bhagwan, dear devotees? Mukunda. These verses are related to Bhagwan Mukunda, Bhagwan Shri Krishna, therefore they are very sweet in nature. Pramadormi Sindhu, some of these verses will give you immense joy. Dear devotees, Ramya, the verses are very sweet to hear because they are in different meters. We just sang 1 meter, Vasanta Tilakam. The verses will have various sweet meters. And Samasta Tamasam Damani, gradually all of your Tamoguna, your ignorance will be suppressed by Padyavali. You will stop feeling that you are in North Carolina. Dear devotees, gradually, it will transport you to another universe. Samasta tamasam damani kramena sangriyate. I am compiling sequentially, topic wise. Kriti kadambaka kautukaya. Kautukaya for the happiness of all of you intelligent devotees. You are the audience, dear devotees. You are the rightful inheritors of the legacy of Srila Rupa Goswami. Those of us who are initiated or plan to get initiated in the lineage of Sri Rupa Goswami, the rightful inheritors of Sri Rupa Goswami's treasures, it is us. And therefore, dear devotees, take what belongs to your forefathers. Only a fool doesn't claim inheritance. So, dear devotees, claim your inheritance. It is here for you. Here is the translation. Please read, Prabhu.
These verses named Padyavali have been created by great Rasika devotees of the past. The Padyavali is beautiful due to being directly related to Lord Mukunda. It generates waves of joyous intoxication in the ocean of happiness for the devotees. It is very sweet and it can suppress all ignorance. I, Rupa Goswami, compile it for the joy of the host of intelligent devotees.
Wonderful. Dear devotees, I told you that gradually, yesterday I told you gradually you start performing bhajan kriya. After bhajan kriya comes anartha nivriti, and anartha nivriti is only complete when one does artha pravriti. Sri Rupa Goswami says gradually when you start doing artha pravriti, you will start rising above the concept of mechanical rules and regulations. Gradually you will start rising above that conception of mechanical rules and regulations. And then, dear devotees, we will accept what is favorable for Bhagavan Seva and we may not accept what is unfavorable for Bhagavan Seva. Sri Rupa Goswami gives the example of one such devotee, one such personality. His name, dear devotees, is Shri Vishnu Puri. Shri Vishnu Puri is an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He compiled this verse because he was also going through this particular stage of bhakti. When we hear the term Vishnu Puri, and especially the surname is Puri, we can immediately understand that this particular personality is special because the surname Puri denotes something. What does the surname Puri denote? Jagannath Puri? No. Huh? Madhavendra Puri? Okay. Dear devotees, Puri is one of the 10 surnames of sannyasis in Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya. So the very term Puri denotes that he has taken which ashram? Sannyas. Madhavendra Puri, Shri Ishwar Puri. Alright. So there are 10 surnames of sannyasis in Sri Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya. Bharati, Tirtha, Puri, Saraswati. So many such surnames are there. There are total 10 surnames. They are called as Dashanami Sampradaya. Dashanami means how many names do they have? 10 names. Puri is one of the names of a sannyasi. Sri Vishnu Puri has taken sannyas. But after taking sannyas, dear devotees, Sri Vishnu Puri took sannyas in the sampradaya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. In those days, it was easier to get sannyas in the sampradaya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. But after taking sannyas in that sampradaya, it was a very difficult path because you have to negate everything. Neti neti. All right, there was nothing positive to relish so much. You have to negate all material existence. Suddenly, Sri Vishnu Puri came in contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him the positive, dear devotees. And I told you what is the positive. What is the positive? Does anybody remember? Bhakti Ras. So Sri Vishnu Puri came in contact with Bhakti Ras through the agency of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now suddenly Sri Vishnu Puri has become very eager to relish Bhakti Ras. And especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say that the greatest amount of Bhakti Ras is found in the pastimes of Sri Krishna, and especially in the pastimes of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, and especially the pastimes in Vrindavan pertaining to the gopis of Sri Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very clearly said. But imagine a sannyasi who has taken sannyas in whose sampradaya, dear devotees? Adi Shankaracharya. Suddenly that sannyasi is starting to relish Radha Krishna Leela Ras. What will other sannyasis say to him? Huh? Bhavuk. You know what Sri Prakashanand Saraswati said when Mahaprabhu came to town in Varanasi? Arey wah, Bengali sannyasi, huh? You eat till here, you know. And Hare Krishna, you know, that's like this. Hare Krishna, wow, wow. Where is Vedant? Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma. Where is meditation on these Mahavakyas, the great statements of Vedanta? Instead of the Hare Krishna, this emotional, sentimental Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is ruining the town of Varanasi. This was the rumor spread against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu came to Varanasi. Dear devotees, similarly, Sri Vishnu Puri is also not very happy because other sannyasis in the same sampradaya are telling him that you are not doing a proper thing by relishing which ras? Bhakti ras. So Sri Vishnu Puri is in a great dilemma. He thinks for many days, what should I do? Should I go back to the path of Sri Adi Shankaracharya and merge myself in the impersonal Brahman? Or should I take to Mahaprabhu's path? But if I take to Mahaprabhu's path, I will have to break the rules of sannyas. Because a sannyasi is not allowed to relish literature of Bhakti Ras. Traditionally, in Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya, a sannyasi is not supposed to read literatures pertaining to Ras. Because when there will be Ras, there will be discussion of man and woman. I hope you are able to understand who is the supreme masculine entity, Krishna, and who is the supreme feminine entity, Sri Radha. So discussion of men and women will be there. And how does it look? A sannyasi is hearing literature about discussion of men and women. Bolo, how does it look, dear devotees? Does it look good or not? Dear devotees, you are also divided in your opinion. He has taken sannyas in Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya. He is supposed to meditate on that impersonal Brahman. What are all of you doing? Pulling him into this Radha Krishna Leela, huh? All of you are agents of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, isn't it? Huh? So, dear devotees, one fine day, Sri Vishnu Puri decides, I've had it. That's it. Today, I'm making a decision. I will go with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Sri Vishnu Puri, you know what is the consequence of breaking rules of sannyas? It is forbidden for a sannyasi to relish rasa. Sri Vishnu Puri says, the meter is Malini. I will try to sing by breaking every line into two parts. Anuchitam uchitam va karma koyam vibhago bhagavati paramasta bhakti yogo dradhiya. Kirati Vishamahindra Sandra Piyushamindur Dvayamapi Samahesho Nirvishesham Vibharti Anuchitam Uchitam Va Karma. So many of us know what is Anuchit and Uchit. Dear devotees, Anuchit means forbidden or not allowed, and Uchit means allowed. Anuchitam Uchitam Va Karma Koyam. What is this artificial division of you can do this and you can't do this? Koyam Vibhago. You know what is Vibhag? Division. What is this division? Sannyasi can't do this, sannyasi can do this, he can't do this, he can do this. What is this artificial division? Oh, sannyasi cannot read rasa literature. Sannyasi should not read about Radha Krishna. Sannyasi should only meditate upon Vedanta. What is this Vibhag? What is this division? I don't care about this division anymore. I only care about one thing today. Bhagavati Param Astam Bhakti Yogo. In Bhagavan, let me have which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. I am giving up Gyan Yoga today. Since today, I will only execute which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Dradhiyan. Drad. What is the meaning of drad, dear devotees? Very firm. Very firm Bhakti Yoga I will execute today. And what about your negativities that you will accrue by breaking rules of sannyas? Who will take care of that? So he says, he gives an example. Kirati Visham Ahindraha Sandra Piyusham Indur. The serpent Vasuki constantly emits poison, and the moon constantly emits nectar. But dear devotees, Bhagavan Shiva considers both of them to be the same, isn't it? Look at Bhagavan Shiva. Does he distinguish between Vasuki and the moon? Does he say, Vasuki, you are not dear to me, and moon, you are dear to me? And what does Vasuki give Bhagavan Shiva? Poison. And what does the moon give Bhagavan Shiva? Nectar. But does Bhagavan Shiva differentiate between them? No. My Shri Krishna is also like that. My Shri Krishna will also neglect any negative activities from my side and will only accept the positivities. Henceforth, I will fully dedicate myself to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and nobody else. This is the vow of Shri Vishnupuri.
What difference does it make to me if I execute prescribed activities or forbidden activities? I only want that I should have fixed bhakti yoga with prem towards Sri Krishna. Vasuki, the king of snakes, emits poison constantly, whereas the moon emits constant nectar. Yet Bhagwan Shiv holds both of them close to himself without distinction, out of this prem.
So dear devotees, let me only have one thing towards Bhagavan, that is prema. Once prema is there, Bhagavan will certainly neglect any shortcomings. And hasn't he said in the Gita, Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. If there is anything lacking in you, I will carry it. So Sri Vishnupuri becomes dedicated to whom? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dear devotees, here are the rules for a sannyasi given directly in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Narad Muni says in the 7th canto, Na sachastreshu sajjeta nopajiveta jivikam. Dear devotees, literature that is useless waste of time. In other words, literature without spiritual benefit should be rejected. Commenting upon this, many acharyas say rasa literature should be given up by a sannyasi. This 7th canto, 13th chapter is giving rules for a sannyasi. And I would really request you, sometimes if you have time, read this chapter. You will come to know what sannyas is. Traditional sannyas is really like this. You cannot even read literature which is having rasa. For a sannyasi, it is not allowed. Dear devotees, therefore, there were many devotee followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who instead of sannyas ashram chose grihastha ashram, who were previously sannyasis, but from sannyasis they became what? Grihastha. Do we know of any such devotee in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela who from sannyasi went back to grihastha? Nityanand Prabhu, all right, so he is Bhagwan, he can do anything, all right. We need an example of another devotee who went from sannyas back to grihastha. There is an example in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is not mentioned that he went from sannyas to grihastha, but when you read the verse, you will understand. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 11.42. Acharya Vaishnavananda Bhakti Adhikari Purve Nama Chilayara Raghunath Puri. Mahaba Prabhu, please read the translation.
Acharya Vaishnavananda was a great personality in devotional service. He was formerly known as Raghunath Puri.
Raghunath?
Puri.
Oh my goodness. Much is said without being said, isn't it, dear devotees? Previously, he was known as Raghunath Puri, and his new name is Acharya Vaishnavananda. But I had heard there is no ashram after sannyas ashram. Is there any ashram after sannyas ashram? No. So what happened, dear devotees? So, dear devotees, from sannyas ashram, many devotees, because the traditional sannyas in Sri Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya was so rigid that many devotees felt it is better not to be in that sannyas ashram of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was very merciful that he introduced Vaishnav sannyas in our lineage. Because traditionally Vaishnav sannyas was not there in our lineage. It was only by the mercy of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada that Vaishnav sannyas is there, and so the sannyasis can also relish which ras? Bhakti ras. Otherwise, in Sri Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya, forget it, dear devotees. You will not find a sannyasi who is allowed to read rasa literature. Dear devotees, gradually, when prema comes near, the devotee starts feeling even more and more that all the external things have become a burden on them, and prema is the only thing that they are looking for. Here is another verse from Sri Padyavali which is describing the condition of another devotee. The name of the devotee is not specified, it's an anonymous author. And this verse is in the meter Shardula Vikriditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. I will try to sing, please repeat after me. Snanam lanam abhut kriyana cha kriya sandhya cha vandhya bhava vandhya bhava Vedah khedamavap shastrapatali samputitantah sphuta shastrapatali samputitantah sphuta Dharmo marmahato dharma nichaya prayah kshayam praptavan Dharmahato dharma nichaya prayah kshayam praptavan Chittam chumbati yadavendra charanam bhoje mamahar nisham This another devotee is also in a similar condition. He has come very close to achieving something. What has he come close to achieving? Prema. Now he feels snanam mlanam abhut. My snan has become mlan, dirty. Whenever I take a bath, if I don't remember Bhagavan, I feel dirty. Kriya na cha kriya. And my daily kriya, every day he is a Brahmana, every day he has to go offer tarpan water to his ancestors, forefathers. Kriya na cha kriya. My kriya, my rituals are not kriya, no longer functioning properly. Dear devotees, kriya na cha kriya. In the second kriya, the meter of the verse breaks. The author has purposely broken the meter of the verse. So just as my kriyas are broken, the meter is also broken. we are reciting the second kriya as short, kriya na chakriya, but it is kriya na chakriya. That is where the verse is breaking, dear devotees. The meter is breaking because his rituals are also broken. Sandhya cha vandhya bhavat. And Sandhya, what is the meaning of Sandhya, dear devotees? The Sandhya means chanting of Gayatri is called Sandhya. Dhyayans tuvam tasya yashas tri Sandhya. Tri Sandhya. In Sandhya basically means joint. Sandhi. You know what is Sandhi? Joint on the body is called Sandhi. So Sandhya is feminine. Joint. There are three joints in the day. First is the joint of the previous night and today's morning. That is the first Sandhya. Second is the joint of morning and evening. That is the second Sandhya, afternoon. And the third Sandhya is the joint of evening and night. So there are how many Sandhyas? Three. There are three joints. And in these three joints, there are three presiding deities of these three Sandhyas. First deity, the presiding deity of first Sandhya is called, please repeat, Gayatri. Second Sandhya, Savitri. Third Sandhya, Saraswati. So in these three Sandhyas, these three Devis are worshipped. Gayatri, Savitri, Saraswati. These three are presiding deities. You have to worship by chanting that mantra which is given at the time of second initiation. Sandhya cha Vandhya bhavat. He says, my Sandhya has become Vandhya. Vandhya means like a barren lady, because I don't get anything now out of chanting these mantras. Vedah khedam avapa. My Vedas have become kheda, they have become dejected towards me. They are saying, why did you study us if finally you wanted to do this devotional service? Shastra Patali and so many other Shastras that I am studying, Nyaya Shastra, grammar, etc., are closed in a box now. Samputitantah sputa. Dharmaha marmahato. It seems that I am not committing any dharma. So what are you committing? Adharma? No, I am not even committing adharma. Neither dharma nor adharma. Then what are you doing? Chittam chumbati. My heart is constantly kissing Yadavendra Charanam Bhoje, the lotus feet of the Lord of the Yadus, each and every single day. This is my condition right now, dear devotees. Sri Rupa Goswami expresses. Please read. So loudly, please read, Prabhu.
My snan, bathing, has become lana, unclean. My kriya, rituals, are no longer kriya, true to their purpose. And my sandhya, chanting of Gayatri, has become vandhya, barren. The Veda has attained khed, dejection, and the various other shastras are now locked away in a casket. My dharma, religiosity, has become marmahat, fatally injured, and all of my adharma, irreligiosity, too has become severely diminished. Day and night, my heart simply kisses the lotus feet of the Lord of the Yadavas.
So, dear devotees, this is the condition of an individual who has come very close to attaining Sri Krishna Prem. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami says, Bhagavan is hankering for such Prem. Bhagavan is also looking that when will it happen that my devotee will perform bhakti, but with the added salt of what? Prema, Preeti. Dear devotees, a wonderful verse by Sri Rai Ramananda. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam. Very important verse. I consider this one of the very important verses of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam. It is originally from the Padyavali. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. नानोपचार कृत पूजन मार्त बंधो प्रेम्णैव भक्त हृदय सुख विद्रुतं स्यात् यावक्षुदस्ति जठरे जरठा पिपासा तावत् सुखाय भवतो ननु भक्ष्यपेये. Dear devotees, Nana Upachar, you may offer various limbs of bhakti to Bhagavan. Can we name some of the limbs of bhakti that we offer to Bhagavan? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, Nana Upachar. You may offer various such limbs of bhakti to Bhagwan. Krita Pujanam. You may worship Bhagwan with these limbs. Artha Bandhu. He is Dina Bandhu. He is very merciful. Definitely he will accept. But Premnaiva Bhakta. O Bhakta. Only by adding the salt of what? Prema. Hridayam Sukha Vidrutam Syat. Will Bhagwan's heart melt in ecstasy and your heart will also melt. Only by adding the salt of one thing. What is that, dear devotees? Prema. Often you have dry salad and then you add salt and many things start giving out water. Have you seen that, dear devotees? You have tomatoes, you just cut tomatoes and you add salt and the tomatoes start giving out. What do they start giving out? Water. So as soon as you add the salt of Prema, Bhagwan's heart melts and your heart will also melt. And dear devotees, many individuals will not be able to give this Prema very easily. There is a reason why. He says many individuals are fully satisfied with their material life and therefore they will not have any heart for Prema. Most individuals who are not able to add this Prema, the reason is because they are fully satisfied with their life. Everything is going well. Why do I need to do anything extra? I already have a contract with Sri Krishna, 16 plus 4 multiplied by 30 years and I will go back home, back to Godhead, isn't it? Huh? That's the contract, right? Bhagwan is bound by my contract, isn't it? Bhagwan, I chanted so many rounds for you. For whom did I chant? For you. Bhagwan, the least you can do is take me back home, back to Godhead. The devotees tell me, is Bhagwan bound by a contract? Bahu janma kari yadi Shravana kirtana tabutana paye Krishna pade prema dhana. Bahu janma kare yadi. For many lives also you perform Shravan Kirtan, but if you don't have the salt of what, dear devotees? Some affection is not there, then you will not attain the final result. And most people are not able to put their hearts in the process because their hearts are already satisfied in material life. Krishna consciousness is side business. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? After I am done with my material life, I have Saturday and Sunday for Krishna consciousness. And on Sunday, I dress in fancy Indian clothes and go to the temple. And when I come back home, I am back to who I am usually, dear devotees. That is my Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? I am speaking about myself. Huh? Don't take it upon yourself. I am speaking about myself. Every Sunday, I go in fancy Indian clothes to the temple. And then when I return back home, I keep those clothes where I cannot be found for another week. And that is the devotee I am. I am fully satisfied in my material life. I have no space in my heart for prema. And therefore Sri Rai Ramananda says, Yavat kshudasti jathare jaratha pipasa. The degree that of hunger and thirst that you have, tavat sukhaya, is the degree of happiness that you will experience while eating food. The devotees, yesterday and today we got a practical experience. Huh? Many of us were very hungry and thirsty. And how did the first sip of water feel after Nirjala Ekadashi? Right. Here it is still easier. Last to last year, I was in India and it was completely sunny. It was so scorching heat, and somehow I managed to scrape through Nirjala Ekadashi. And when Dwadashi arrived, I made sure it was not water, it was cold water, dear devotees. And when I took cold water, my goodness, the happiness that I experienced was, second to none. Dear devotees, how many of you want to drink water right now? See, not many are raising their hands, isn't it? It's just few hours since Nirjala Ekadashi has passed and we are already satisfied. So food and drinks appear tasty only to the degree that we are hungry or thirsty. And so prema appears relevant only to the degree that we have that hankering for attaining Bhagavan. And if we don't have that hankering, then it will not be possible, dear devotees. We can have our formulas and contract with Bhagavan, isn't it? Huh? And it is upon Bhagavan if Bhagavan wants to agree to that contract or not. It is we who made the contract and we are forcing it upon Bhagavan. That's it. But really, Bhagavan doesn't want contracts. Bhagavan is looking for something. What is Bhagavan looking for, dear devotees? Prema. Bhagavan is hankering for prema. And therefore, if we can give Bhagavan what he wants, perhaps then Bhagavan may think about what we want. But this is not how it is supposed to work. It is not a business relationship with Bhagavan. We are supposed to give prema without expecting anything, and Bhagavan will automatically do whatever is needed. All right. This is the translation, Prabhu. Kindly read.
Dear devotee, the heart of Krishna melts in bliss only by genuine prema, not simply by elaborate worship done using various paraphernalia. Food and drinks appear pleasing to an individual only to the degree that they are hungry or thirsty.
Is Sri Rai Ramananda, you can say, is the left-hand associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No. Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami and Rai, left hand, right hand, isn't it, dear devotees? Is Sri Rai Ramananda. He is telling us the secret. There is something lacking, dear devotees. 10 years have passed in the marriage. Something is lacking. What is lacking, dear devotees? Prema. Sneha is lacking. Affection is lacking. We are not expected to have full-fledged prema right now. Little sneha is needed. What is needed? Little sneha. Sneha is affection. Prema is full-fledged love of Bhagavan. If you are given an entire pot of milk and you want to make yogurt out of it, so it's not expected that you start with yogurt. You start with milk, but you add something to the milk to make it yogurt. What do you add to make it yogurt? Some culture or some yogurt. Little yogurt should be added. And you add little yogurt and next day you will find that the entire milk has turned into yogurt. So it is not expected that initially you will have full-fledged prema. Initially add little sneha and keep adding regularly. Gradually, you will find that the heart is full of what, dear devotees? Prema. But it has to begin from our side. Therefore, dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami says, for those of us who want to know how prema feels like, he gives a very wonderful example. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami's prime example in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Yuvatinam yatha yuni yunam cha yuvatau yatha manobhiramate tadvan manobhiramatam tvai yuvatinam yatha yuni, just as young girls think of young boys. How do they think? How do young girls think of beautiful young boys, and how do young boys think of beautiful young girls? How do they think? Hare, you don't, you're all Hare Krishnas, you don't know. Sorry, wrong question for the wrong assembly, dear. You can answer in your heart. No need to answer, huh, dear devotees. You can answer in your heart. Yuvati nam yatha yuni. Just as a young boy thinks of a young attractive girl. Yunam cha yuvatau yatha. And just as a young girl thinks about a young attractive boy. And they think, when they think of each other, they have something within their heart, dear devotees. They have what is known as, please repeat after me, rag. Rag is that deep attachment. Intense deep attachment is also known as rag. Rag, dear devotees, is also that deep reddish color, is also known as raga. For example, can you see the color of this flower, dear devotees? This color in Sanskrit has, what is the term for this color? Rag. So rag is that deep reddish color of attraction that young boys have for young girls and young girls have for beautiful young boys. And in the similar way, Bhagwan, let my mind also think about you, Bhagwan. Let me have raga for you, because that is the only thing that I need in my bhajan right now. I have done enough mechanical bhajan, isn't it? I have done enough. I need to move ahead. Here is the translation. Kindly read.
Just as the minds of young women take pleasure in thinking of young men, and the minds of young men take pleasure in thinking of young women, kindly let my mind take pleasure in you, Krishna, alone.
This consciousness is Krishna consciousness. To think of Bhagwan with the same intensity of attraction that Sri Rupa Goswami has described in this verse. That is actually what is Krishna consciousness. And all of us have experience of this raga, especially those who are grown up. We have experience of this raga. Sri Rupa Goswami doesn't need to explain in any other words. It is very clear. Dear devotees, when we have such Krishna consciousness, we will have such immense good desires in relation to Sri Krishna that we will have wonderful thoughts about Sri Krishna 24 hours a day. There's one devotee named Sri Raghupati Upadhyay. One fine day, Sri Raghupati Upadhyay came to Jagannath Puri and Sri Rupa Goswami introduced him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Rupa Goswami said, here is a wonderful devotee of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. His name is Raghupati Upadhyay. You can imagine somebody recommended by Sri Rupa Goswami. And Sri Raghupati Upadhyay came in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Raghupati Upadhyay was from Bihar and he had come to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him a question. Please tell me, what have you learnt about Krishna? What have you learnt in your life? All right. So, dear devotees, maybe one such day will come in our lives too. One fine day, maybe after this body, we may be introduced to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may ask us, Bolo, what have you realized about Krishna? Bolo. हाँ Bolo.
Sadhu Sangha and love of Krishna is everything.
That is bhakti. What have you realized about Krishna? Krishna loves us more than we actually love him. आगे बढ़ो. Hey, chalo, more. You know what he did with Sri Rai Ramananda? Huh? Thoda, let's move ahead. I want to hear deeper. Bolo, Prabhu. That day is going to come, and you will be like frozen in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Huh? Ideally, when you are in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is expecting you to speak some poetry of your creation. Tell me, what have you realized about Sri Krishna? It's very tricky, okay. Dear devotee, Sri Raghupati Upadhyay tells Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Raghupati Upadhyay has also come from that background of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Dear devotees, do you want to see a sannyasi from the sampradaya of Adi Shankaracharya who's following all the rules of traditional sannyas? You want to see how such a sannyasi looks? That is sannyas. You can see the tilak on the forehead. You can see which sampradaya. That is sannyas, dear devotees. That was sannyas in the age of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is meditating on the impersonal Brahman, dear devotees. Sri Raghupati Upadhyay was also trained on this path. He was about to take sannyas. But just before he took sannyas, he was introduced to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Saved, dear devotees. And he dived deep into Bhakti Ras, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, tell me, what have you realized about Sri Krishna? And he Immediately he spoke a very wonderful verse. Dear devotees, in front of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Raghupati Upadhyaya is being tested. Sri Raghupati Upadhyaya is being recommended by Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Raghupati Upadhyaya immediately speaks a verse of his composition. Meter is Arya. Arya is a difficult meter. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. Shrutayah palal kalpa. Shrutayah palal kalpa. Kimi havayam sampradam chinuma. Kimi havayam sampratam chinuma. Ahriyata puraiva nayanay. Ahriyata puraiva nayanay. Abhirivi param brahma. Abhirivi param brahma. He said to Mahaprabhu, Shrutayah palala kalpa. Shrutis. What is the meaning of Shrutis, dear devotees? Vedas. The Vedas are palal. They have become like empty husks of grain for me. You know what is husk of grain? Nowadays we just see grain in the superstore. We never see a husk. Previously, grain used to be extracted from husk. So when you beat the husk, something comes out from the husk. What comes out? Grain. And then the husk becomes empty. Shrutayah palala kalpa. The Shrutis, the Vedas are like empty husks of grain for me. Nothing remains in the four Vedas for me. Kimiha vayam sampratam chinuma. What should I now try to extract from these four Vedas? Bhagavan, what should I try to extract from these four Vedas? Nothing remains for me. Why? Where is the seed? Where is the seed of the Vedas? What happened? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what happened to the seed of the Vedas? So he says, Ahriyata puraiva nayanair abhiribhi param brahma. Abhiribhi, the gopis of Vrindavan, Ahriyata stole the main seed of the Vedas through their sidelong glances. Nothing is remaining there now. The gopis stole the seed of all the four Vedas. Dear devotees, who is the main seed within all the four Vedas? Sri Krishna. The seed of all the four Vedas was stolen by the sidelong glances of the gopis. There is nothing remaining now in the Vedas for me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sadhu, Sadhu, you understood. You understood. Here is the translation. Please read.
The Upanishads and other Shrutis are now like empty husks of rice. What could we possibly extract from them now? The seed of the Supreme Brahman, Krishna, has already been stolen away by the eyes of the cowherd damsels.
Dear devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was supremely pleased on hearing this verse. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, speak one more verse. One more. So if Mahaprabhu loves you, he will say one more. And then he said one more. And Sri Raghupati Upadhyaya spoke one more verse. Shyamameva param rupam Puri madhupuri vara Vayah kaishorakam dhyeyam Adya eva parorasaha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'll tell you 4 facts about my life. Shyamam eva param rupam. The highest, most beautiful form in the entire universe is the form of whom? Shyam. Bhagavan, that Shyam, when he came out of the waters of the Yamuna in the full moon dark night, he came out of the waters, there was that water, that dark water of the Yamuna dripping from his hair. Sitting on the bank of the Yamuna, he tied his hair, he put a peacock feather, he sat down and started playing the flute on the 5th note in that full moon night under a Kadamba tree. That form is the highest form that I have seen. Shyamameva param rupam. Puri, And the greatest place of residence is Madhupuri, Mathura Mandal, Vraja Mandal is the best place. Sri Vrindavan is the best place to stay for me. And Vayaha, Krishna has many ages, childhood, adolescence. Vayaha Kaishorakam, the best age of Krishna to meditate upon is Kishore. What is Kishore, dear devotees? Yeah. Yeah, dear devotees, please repeat after me. 15 years, 7 months, 2 days. Okay? I'm telling you the exact age. All right? 15 years, 7 months, 2 days. Vayaha Kaishorakam Dhyayam. The age to be meditated upon is sweet 16. About to touch sweet 16. That is the sweetest age of Bhagavan, because in this age, Bhagavan experiences his first love. And first loves are never to be forgotten. Never to be forgotten. Later he will go to Mathura and Dwarka, and in Dwarka he will get married to Rukmini. Dear devotees, who is Rukmini's first love of life? And who is Krishna's first love of life? There is a big problem, dear devotees. There's a big problem. After leaving Vrindavan, he did not pick up the flute. There is a big problem. He did not pick up the flute. So it is very difficult for us to understand what Bhagavan is going through in Mathura and Dwaraka. Vayaha Kaishorakam Dhyayam. The sweetest age to meditate upon is his age where he was close to 16 years. And Adya Eva Parorasaha. The greatest ras is Madhurya ras. The greatest is Madhurya. Why Sri Raghupati Upadhyay? Why is Madhurya the greatest? Because in Dasya, the devotee always remains subservient to Bhagavan. In Sakhya, the devotee always remains equal to Bhagavan. In Vatsalya, the devotee always remains above Bhagavan. And in Madhurya, the devotee can choose whatever they want to remain with Bhagavan. Adya eva paro rasa. The greatest ras is one ras. Which ras, dear devotees? Madhurya ras. So this is the choice that Sri Raghupati Upadhyay made in his life. Please read the translation, Mahabha Prabhu.
The form of Shyamasundar is the supreme form. The city of Mathura Mandal is the supreme abode. Lord Krishna's fresh youth should always be meditated upon. And Madhurya Ras is the supreme ras.
So Madhurya ras is the supreme ras that Bhagavan enjoys, dear devotees, and this is the ras that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give all of us. And therefore, dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami also prays, dear devotees, today final verse, dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami says, usually I am not going to include any of my verse in the Padyavali, but he makes an exception. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami also hankers for that rasa. This verse is in the meter Shikharini. Final verse for today, dear devotees. I'll sing. Please repeat after me. Kada vrindaranye mihraduhe tu sangamahite tu sangamahite Muhur Brahmam Charitalaharingo Kulapate Lapanuchairnayana Paya Samveni Biraham Paya Samveni Biraham Karishe Sotkandham Nibidamupasekam Vitapinam Shikharini. The meter is Shikharini. It is a rule in Sanskrit poetry. The name of any meter should also fit within the meter. Shikharini is the meter. Sri Rupa Goswami says, Kada Vrindaranye. When will I finally attain the forest of Sri Vrindavan? When will my material life be over? When will I finally attain the forest of Sri Vrindavan? Mihira duhitu. And when will I go near the daughter of the sun god? Who is the daughter of the sun god, dear devotees? Yamuna. Sangamahite. She decorates the Vrindavan. Dear devotees, the Yamuna decorates the Vrindavan in a very beautiful way. Dear devotees, Vrindavan is the forest of Vrinda Devi. Is Vrinda Devi masculine gender or feminine gender? Dear devotees, ladies wear sadis. Sri Jiva Goswami says, in Yamuna, there are three images or three shadows that fall. First is the shadow of the birds that fly above it. Second is the shadow of the trees and the leaves that are on the banks of the Yamuna. And third is the image of the fishes inside the Yamuna. How many images in total, dear devotees? Three. Dear devotees, Yamuna appears like a long, dark sari, designed sari, which Vrinda Devi wears. Dear devotees, this is how Sri Yamuna Devi is. Kada Vrindaranye Mihira Duhitu Sangamahite. When will I go to Sri Vrindavan decorated with the wonderful long sari named Sri Yamuna? Muhur Brahmam Brahmam, repeatedly roaming here and there. Charita Laharim Gokulapate. I will sing of all these wonderful verses about Gokulapati Sri Krishna. Lapan Uchchair Uchchair. And when will I be able to cry loudly for Bhagavan? That day has not come in my life till now, that I will be able to cry genuinely for Bhagavan. That day has not come in my life. And I should cry so loudly, Nayan Appayasam Veni Bhir, because I've suffered so much. Under this Nawab Hussain Shah, Sri Rupa Goswami had a terrible time. Devotees, terrible time. Lapan Uchchair Uchchair. I wish to go there and cry in front of the Yamuna. And I wish to have tears coming from my eyes. Veni. Veni means multiple rows of tears should come from my eyes. Karishye Sotkantham, with a choked throat. Nibidam Upasekam Vitapinam. I wish to sprinkle the trees on the banks of the Yamuna with my tears. And unless I am able to sprinkle the trees on the banks of the Yamuna with my tears, I will not consider my life to be successful. This is Sri Rupa Goswami's desire, dear devotees. Here is the translation, Prabhu, kindly read.
When in Vrindavan forest, which is glorified by the Yamuna's touch, shall I continually wander, filled with the longings of love, loudly chanting the transcendental pastimes of Gokula's king, Krishna, and thickly sprinkling the trees with streams of tears from my eyes.
So, dear devotees, this is the hankering of all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How many of us would like to relish further pastimes of Sri Krishna? Please raise your hands.
Very good.
So you have to wait because we have another program. When is the next program, Prabhu? Evening. Evening, we will continue more Padyavali. And we will now get into direct pastimes of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. I was just speaking about the devotees till now. In the evening, we'll dive deeper. We'll get into direct Krishna Katha because that is what is powerful. Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Hritkarna Rasayana Katha. That is what is powerful. That is what can change the heart, dear devotees. So in the evening, we will have direct Krishna Katha from Sri Rupa Goswami's Padyavali. But I am very thankful to all of you that you kindly came here. Thank you so much, Swarnigori Mataji. Thank you, Raghu Prabhu. And thank you, all of you wonderful devotees, for kindly being present here. Yadatra Skalitam Kinchit Vidvam Saha Purayantu Tat. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit Tad Guroreva Me Nahi. Yadatra Skalitam Kinchit. If there's any mistake in what I spoke, Vidvam Saha, you are learned devotees, Purayantu Tat. Please correct any mistakes. But Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. If there's anything nice in what I said, please remember Tad Guroreva. It belongs to my Gurujanas. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful journey Prabhu took us on, and I did not want it to end. But Prabhu said, "What time is the evening program?" I'm like, wait, what? So, such a wonderful journey of the Padyavali that Prabhu took us on. It's such heart-melting, it's such attractive. Let's all just loudly, loudly thank Prabhuji from the bottom of our hearts. Hari Bol! Speaking, and I was making a few points. I thought maybe, I will end up with like 3-4 points, and that will be sufficient, and I can just say, Prabhuji, these were some 3 or 4 points I really like from the class. But oh my goodness, I kid you not, I have more than 10-15 points that I thought, and I'm like, what do I even say? But there were some few things that actually really stuck, and Prabhuji made this wonderful point. He says the opposite of anartha nivritti is
Anartha nivritti.
And that one word that Prabhuji asked us to remember in this class is Bhakti Ras. And initially, Prabhuji, I think you opened it up very nicely. Generally, when you open up a class, you actually attract people's attention. And so it's kind of like a hook, right? You just get people's attention. And I think Prabhuji did so many wonderful points, but one of the wonderful points he said is that, oh, you know what, like arranged marriages, we're supposed to do our duty. Yeah, we wake up in the morning, Krishna, Ray, 16 rounds, roughly I'm done. Let me go and with my life.
Yeah.
But that is like wonderful thing that you took us through the journey. Probably some of the things that I really stuck with me, the story of Vishnu Puri,
Yeah.
of how he chose to follow. He went through that dilemma, and then he said, okay, you know what, no problem. I will deal with the consequences, but let me go follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I think that was really nice. You mentioned about the verse number 80, that is the condition of one who comes close to prema. I think that has been really, really wonderfully explained. The one thing that Prabhuji actually mentioned, you must have mentioned this word salt at least 50 times, which is such an important thing in our Vedic Shastras. The word salt has been emphasized so much. You can't have less of it, you can't have more of it. You have to have the right amount of salt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the food becomes not so palatable. Correct? So you have to have that salt, which is the prema that has to be offered to Krishna. I also like the story about Raghupati Upadhyay, and especially the point, Prabhu, that really struck out to me today is that one day we will be in front of Mahaprabhu, and I'm like, I am absolutely unprepared. I have no clue if and when that day comes, what we are going to do. That is just me. You are all very elevated devotees. You have figured out the plan. But for me, it is really a wake-up call. I need to now take that lesson back and think about something. Which, first of all, in so many million of years, if I'll be such fortunate, like Prabhuji said, then we will have to address it. And then the last point is that initially, like Prabhuji said, that we don't take the chanting as a duty in the morning, wake up and at 6 and 6:30 and say, here, 16 rounds I chanted, you keep, I'll go on with my duty. But take those 16 rounds, and Prabhuji gave a wonderful point of meditation. And that point of meditation to me was meditating on Krishna in his Kaishurya age of 15 years. Hari Bol! Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So do we pause here, or is there some time for Q&A? Should we pause?
Do we have some time for Q&A? We have some time for Q&A. Yes, Prabhu, you have raised it.
But are there any announcements before we start?
There are,
Q&A?
there
Yes. So let's
Want me to
make,
go through them?
yeah,
Okay.
sure.
All right. So Prabhuji mentioned 6 p.m. we are going to continue on with the program. 6 p.m. we have a Krishna Katha. That is in Fukwe Varina in Raj Prabhuji and Ramya Mataji's home. So the address is there in the WhatsApp group. So please look that up, and we'll see you there at 6 p.m. Tomorrow we have Pani Hati festival in the temple. Pani Hati festival is a very, very sweet festival of chida and dahi. There's a whole pastime associated with it. You get to hear the pastime. For those of you who have not heard the pastime, it is absolutely sweet. Cannot miss it. And it is a festival that we take really, really big pleasure in celebrating. A lot of devotees put a lot of hard work, and we do it in a very special way. There is a unique angle to celebrating Panihati, which is only done in our, which I know of. So for those of you who have been in Panihati festivals last year, you know what to expect. You can't miss it. You got to be there tomorrow. And for those of you who have not been there last year, you absolutely cannot miss because you have to witness the Panihati festival. So there's going to be a lot of cooking help needed in the kitchen. So 1 p.m. onwards, if you can please lend yourself and serve along 1 p.m. onwards. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank again Raghu Prabhuji and Swarna Gauri Mataji for opening up the doors of their home and allowing this wonderful program and such wonderful nectar of Krishna Katha to actually happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And lastly, I just want to talk about Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu. I think you have some books from Shivarama Swami you wanted to talk about, or Prabhu?
Should I speak or do you want to speak, Prabhu? All right. So yesterday, also an announcement was made that those devotees who are, who have spent a considerable number of years on the path and who wish to advance further on the path. There are many disciples of Srila Prabhupada who are also writing books soon in the direction of helping such devotees. And one of the prominent devotees who's writing books in this direction is His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj. He's written so many wonderful books for helping the devotees on their path to advancement, not only in Vaidhi Bhakti, but also Raga Bhakti. And many of these books are present with us here today, dear devotees. Before all of you go, kindly have a look at the book set that is available here. There are many wonderful sets of books. Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, and is Vilap Kusumanjali also here? Yeah, Vilap Kusumanjali, they're also there. Writings of the previous acharyas, wonderful, wonderful realizations. Please do not miss a chance to have a look at these wonderful books. Thank you. Yes, sure, why not? Those are the boxes, yeah, okay. The seed of the books has been taken away by the sidelong glances of the devotees. Okay. So these are the wonderful books. I have remaining 2 hands will come in Dwarka. All right. So I have Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani and Navabraja Dham, wonderful books, dear devotees. Please consider buying those books, and they are very wonderful for those devotees who wish to advance on the path. Wonderful, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. All right, we can have Q&A now. All announcements are done?
Yes,
all right.
we can do Q&A.
Q&A. So Rishikesh Prabhu first. Yes, Prabhu. Dear devotees, let's keep little silence so that we can have Q&A. Yeah.
So, Prabhu, initially, Lord actually hankers for prema. It is actually the last stage of our, the bhakti. But in initial stage, in my stage, how do I add the prema when I don't have prema?
We need to have sneha. Initial affection. I gave the example. You don't need to have a full container of yogurt. Little yogurt should be added. Milk will automatically, it has the tendency to become yogurt. But that little sneha also comes from the association of an existing devotee who has prema. So it cannot be produced by our material efforts. It has to be produced in the association of an existing devotee. It has to be received from an existing devotee. Thank you. Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Louder. And very sweet how you bring us to the platform of loving Krishna, then just performing our activities like ritual. The thing is how you said that adding a little salt of sneha to each and every activity we are doing. It's very foolish of me to ask the question, but I will still ask because it's a doubt from yesterday that like in our family life, in our life with children and husband and everyone, we do some of the things where we kind of experience some material affection or sneha. And from there only I am starting that some days are very smooth and I can take care of my son and my daughter in a good mood and do everything nicely. But many days are actually like rushing through and doing everything just to make it, just to somehow go through the day. So as we are with Krishna also at home, and every day we do many activities to please Krishna. So many of the days are also the similar for Krishna, like we rush through the things because we have many things to do and we are in the material world. So I just want to clarify that, like how I expect my son and my husband to understand that I'm going today to the class. So morning I can't do much things for them. So is also the same thing for Krishna, or I should?
Okay. So Mataji's query is that just as there is affection for family members and relatives, but the family members and relatives also have to adjust sometimes because Mataji may be busy in so many other sevas. So does Krishna also understand that some days we are busy and not able to, render service to him? So Mataji, rendering service to Krishna is, especially in the mood of Raganuga Bhakti, is mainly a thing of the mind. In this body, you have to render that service mainly through the mind. And there is a very nice verse that the Acharyas speak in this regard. Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela 1.211. Please repeat after me. Paravyasanini nari vyagrapi graha karmasu tadeva swadayatyanta navasangarasayanam. Mataji, word for word, you can see what is the meaning of paravyasanini. What is the meaning of paravyasanini? Paravyasanini nari vyagrapi griha karmasu. If a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household affairs. But within her heart, she is always relishing feelings of association with her paramour. Similarly, no matter how much household life takes over us, Bhagwan is in the place of that paramour for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And so, such a lady will never give second place to her paramour. In her heart, the paramour is always having the first place. She may not express externally. So similarly, our affection for Krishna always remains within the heart. Seva for Krishna always goes on within the heart, no matter how busy externally we are. So service to Krishna is through two main ways, through the external body and through the heart. And the service to the heart is called Manasi Seva. So which Seva is considered to be more important for those who are on the path of love of Bhagavan? Which Seva is more important? Manasi Seva. So you will never become busy in Manasi Seva because there is nobody else occupying your Manas, your heart. You can become busy in your Sharirik Seva. Sharirik Seva is your Seva is done through the physical body. But Mansi Seva, there is nobody else coming inside the door of the heart. There's only one person always going to stay there. Therefore, even though she is very busy in carrying her household affairs, Krishna is in the place of the paramour. And therefore, Krishna will always occupy that central position. Krishna understands. I hope you're able to understand. Okay? Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, sorry for my ignorance, but I felt a bit uncomfortable with that example of a sannyasi going back to Grihastha ashram. Could you please clarify?
Sure. What was uncomfortable about it?
I don't think what kind of an example is this setting and what is the expectation like. I mean, sannyas ashram is not like a joke.
That is, today we have Vaishnav sannyas. Any sannyas is not a joke. Sannyas is a very serious ashram. And a person who gives up on sannyas ashram is heavily critiqued by Shastra. It's a person who is eating what he has vomited. That is what it is said in Shastra. These people are not giving up on sannyas ashram because they want to get married, because they want sense enjoyment. These people are giving up on sannyas ashram because they want to relish bhakti ras. And in traditional sannyas ashram, those literature are not allowed. The motivation is not to enjoy material nature. We should not consider them in the same category as those people who fall from sannyas because of the desire for sense enjoyment. Therefore I asked, what is more important, sannyas or bhakti ras? If you personally, please put yourself on the platform. I showed you a picture of a sannyasi from Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya. 300, 400 years ago, there was no institution. There was no ISKCON or no Gaudiya Math or no institution was present. People had to perform bhakti individually. Put yourself in a position 300, 400 years ago, where you have come across in your life, first across the philosophy of Sri Adi Shankaracharya, you ended up taking sannyas in that sampradaya. And then you were meditating like this, that personality. Then you came across the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you experienced bhakti ras. And now you have to make one choice between either following that sannyas ashram strictly or accepting bhakti ras. Tell me, what will you do? But then you have to give up some rules of sannyas. Bolo?
When you said the motivation was to perform bhakti and not sense gratification.
Of course, that is clear from day one. That that is very clear in the verse I introduced, that they wanted to relish bhakti ras in association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Not that they got married or not like that.
They gave up their formal sannyas. All right, but society will consider it fall down. I hope you are able to understand. Society will still consider it as a fall down. But does Bhagavan consider it as a fall down? No, not at all. So that is the difference. In today's society, we have Vaishnav sannyas. Now, Vaishnav sannyasi, are they allowed to relish bhakti ras? Why not? But when you relish bhakti ras, there will be talks of men and women, Radha and Krishna. Is that allowed for a sannyasi, Prabhu? Yeah. For a Shankara sannyasi? No. So that is the whole situation. I hope that clarifies. Okay? Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Wonderful. Yes.
Just a follow-up question. That sneha also comes from a person who has a sneha. So how exactly practically I get it? How do I know who is sneha?
How do we know who has sneha and who doesn't have? That's a very important question. We cannot know by our external endeavor. By our judgment, we cannot know. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was asked about, how do you find such a sadhu? And he gave an answer. Would you like to see the answer that he gave? So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada gave an answer to that particular question. And that particular question's answer, I will like to pull out a particular book which lists his answer. Question asked to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. How do you find such a guru? All right. How will I be able to recognize someone as a bona fide spiritual master? Mahababa Prabhu, loudly.
You make judgments based on your own intelligence. That such and such a person is guru. You are in fact projecting the qualities of guru on him. Such a person is never truly the guru. In such cases, you are thinking that the guru is somehow under your control or within the purview of your sensory knowledge. When Krishna himself decides to send you someone to act as your spiritual master, that person will be manifest before you as the Mahan Guru.
So only when Bhagavan decides that I will send a person to him, then that person will come and we will know in our heart that this person is the answer to my years and years of longing. A person who doesn't have the longing will not get. Only after having a longing will a person be able to receive. Further, how will I find that bona fide Guru?
The Supreme Lord acts as Guru in two ways, as the Chaitya Guru within the heart, and externally as the Mahant Guru, or pure devotee. If I am sincere, then the Lord reveals the Mahant Guru to me.
If I am sincere, that's a big if, then Bhagavan reveals who is the Mahanta. Mahanta means Maha-anta, he who can show the great final destination of bhakti. And what is at the final end of bhakti? What stage is that? Prema. Maha-anta, Maha-anta Guru. All right, please read ahead.
We can go to 1,000 different people with a petition in hand, but until the one person who can approve our application approves it, we get nowhere. The Supreme Lord is that person. Why he does or does not approve our request is something we cannot fathom. He is not a field laborer working in our personal garden.
Yeah, he is not a field laborer. In Hindi, बगीचे का माली नहीं हमारे भगवान. बगीचे का माली नहीं. So, if we are sincere, Bhagwan will send. For that, we may have to cry in front of Bhagwan.
We have to be patient and wait. In the meantime, we should prepare ourselves by cultivating a service attitude and trying to eliminate extraneous desires. If we pray sincerely for the Lord's blessing, then he will graciously bless us. Through his grace, we will find a bona fide spiritual master.
And then he quotes Praman, because to speak nothing without quoting a Praman. Krishna yadi kripa kare, kona bhagyavane, Guru antaryami rupe, shikhaye apane.
When Krishna decides to be kind to someone fortunate soul, then he personally directs that person from within as the super soul and from without as the spiritual master.
So first Bhagwan will guide us from within, that this is the particular person, and from outside that person will be manifest. Krishna will give that clear indication. This is the person you were looking for. And Srila Prabhupada also says the same thing, because in that there is also a conversation about regarding which Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada is asked by a person named O'Grady. He asks, the problem is to find the spiritual master. What does Prabhupada says?
No, there is no problem. The problem is if you are sincere. You have got problems, but God is within your heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishthati. God is not far away. God is within your heart. So if you are sincere, then God will give you a spiritual master.
If we are sincere, Bhagavan will send. All the acharyas are speaking in the same line. This is how a spiritual master is attained. Only Bhagavan's arrangement is what can help us in this regard, Prabhu. By our own judgment, we may make a mistake. So we should try to find Krishna's arrangement. That is the best process and the recommended process since time immemorial. That is the process. All right. Thank you. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Swarna Gauri Mataji, Raghu Prabhu, once again. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you for elevating us to a new realm.